liking our stories and posts and stuff. So I think that's going to be a connection, and they're going to be at MJ BizCon.
We're on a mission to meet Jim Belushi and Brennan. All right, hitting record. All right now. All right, it's Thursday at 4:20 p.m. Eastern. That means it's time for Office Hours, AROYA's weekly podcast for cultivators to hear from the experts and talk to each other about what they're seeing with their grows. My name's Keisha. I am co-moderating with my good friend Mandy. How's it going over there, Mandy?
Hey, Keisha. We're here for episode 46, live with our growing cultivation community and live also over on YouTube. Wherever you're tuning in from, make sure you send us your questions, and I'll make sure I get those over to the team. A couple of quick announcements before we do get started. Do check out our case study from Ascension Farm. They're our latest team of growers that we're featuring as a part of our AROYA Grow series. So I'll post the link on our story on our Instagram right after this. So yeah, check that out to read about all the success that they're having in their grows. A final announcement before I do send it back over to Keisha. If you're going to MJ BizCon in Vegas next week, make sure you reach out to us and we can set up a time to meet with you, schedule something, hang out. Yeah, we'll make it happen. But yeah, you know what we're here for. I'm excited for this one, so I'm going to throw it back over to you, Keisha.
Awesome. Thank you, Mandy. If you're here with us live, you have a question, type it in the chat at any time. We're going to do a little bit different format today because it's a very special session. We are offering a preview of AROYA's new irrigation control feature. I'm going to answer questions. But Seth and Jay, ready to get us started on this one?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're to be launching this, obviously. Fortunately enough, and some large our clients are using Open Sprinkler have obviously had the opportunity to get it integrated into our system, and we've kind of built on to. So let's we'll do a quick walkthrough on how to set it up, how to configure channels, using it with AROYA, and then we'll also go through some of the operations that you'd expect setting up once you're integrated. Real facility, my house, actually. It's not much for tutorial systems. So what we'll need to do is have the client get on our list for setup with Open Sprinkler. We'll enable the feature for your system in a timely manner, and then we'll work with you just to make sure that initial setup is good to go and you have the education that you need to be using it proactively. So when you jump into this, this is where you're getting a controller. And are added, but we'll just walk adding a controller, make sure that as possible. Options for host or IP. This or controller name or IP address. This is just the network available basically in 3 common areas. The would be on the face going to show that it's using. Used to using Open Sprinkler, it'll just the digits of the URL and jump into router and go to or users on that network, and it will there as well. So it's going to be 92.1.10. Open Sprinkler the same network as your gateway. Next port, this is going to be port by default 80 for Open Sprinkler. Only need to change this if you've changed to a separate port Open Sprinkler. The password by default Open Sprinklers is Open Door. Make sure you all that good stuff. Anyway, like I said, work as your gateway. Make sure that or as, and then this can be whatever you call it, upstairs open spring, etc. Just a name to identify. After we will the bottom right, it's going to start connecting. It can take up to 2 installing some updates on your gateway, communicate with your open sprinkler. Advantages of the open sprinkler through AROYA, since we are talking about networks right now, if you're used to using sprinkler, it's likely that you have forwarding through your sprinkler. Natively not, probably not this to be accessing a device on. When you're using an open sprinkler, no longer needed directly to your own. So what's happening when working with our interface, the information that you're is going to go through our security software, okay, and the gateway locally to your. So that's a really nice that haven't set up a VPN or don't have other secure way to access their open sprinkler. Once this sprinkler is communicated, we'll see communication over here on the right side as now, and it'll tell us things like the this enabled or configured. Here is we 4 channels, so on the core per. And what we'll want to do, the step in telling what channels. So channel 1, and I'm going to do remote 1 and 1. Let's go to channel 2 and just
sprinkler. A lot of people have set it up from the same menu right here. Any of the ports can be master.
And basically, see here on the left side, drip icon was a crown on top of our drip allocated as master. For other zones, what they use master. So in this case, we have the on channel, and then we have in this case when we do schedule, it'll also the valve or run. And it's gonna push this. We're gonna save succeeded. Cool. And then the next thing that I like to do, set up some sprinkler, and this for your setup, but what your so that you can calculate things like, or you can run it as a volume of just your feature. Obviously, we've got a stacked block on 4x4, those types of things, and then slab. Really, all we're asking. And per plant and basically approximation of volume or percentage. And one thing I think past, and I'll mention, sure, you're getting the do volume and then measure the weight of it. Your printed flow rate is coming. All right. Setup of it, but that gives you how to get one set up. And when we combine programs, so most of you are used to having one program for your P1, another program for your P2 events, that type of thing. We can combine those into what and we can build new schedule that can be applied. So when we think of recipe for the specific of plant life cycle, and we'll see that this template is going to be referenced for right in there and say, you know, that stuff. But also, the idea is make sure that substrate is, we want to have our a grow down slab of a specific would even separate cocoa from the same volume. So when we go into a recipe, we can apply those different to the recipe. You can either build new ones right, drop down right next to it and say, see, there's what we've got. Get up to field times 2 shots in there. And we'll harvest. We'll have those irrigations of it. So